Hello friends, welcome back to the Python programming session. In the earlier session, we had started with the grid method in Geometry Manager in Tkinter. We saw how with the help of row and column parameters, we can place the widget on the main screen or main window. And in today's session, let's see how rowspan and columnspan work in the grid method in the Geometry Manager. So we had covered column, row. Today let's move ahead with row span and column span. Suppose we want the widget to occupy two rows or two columns. Then we can specify row span equal to 2, column span equal to 2. By default, row span will be having a value equal to 1 and column span also will be having a value equal to 1. If we want to span it 2 rows, we can give row span equal to 2. If we want to span it 3 rows, we can give row span equal to 3. Similarly, column span, if we want the widget to span 3 columns, we can give column span equal to 3. So let's cover row span and column span in this particular session. So the one in red represents columns. This is column span equal to 2 and the one in green is row span equal to 2. So the one in red occupies two columns, the 0th column and the first column. So we have given column span equal to 2. The one in green occupies two rows, that is first row, second row. So it occupies two cells row wise. So row span equal to 2. Now let's look one of the important code example for row span and column span. Initially, let me have my frame 1 equal to frame, place it in the main window, width equal to 100, height equal to 100 and background color equal to red. Now let me place it with the help of the grid method. Grid. Let me place it in row 0, comma, column 0. So now when I run the code, I get my frame widget which is having a background color equal to red with width 100, height 100 and it is occupying the position row equal to 0 and column equal to 0. Now let me take another frame called frame 2 called frame 2. And let me give width equal to 100, height equal to 100, background color let me make it pink. And I want to place it in row 1, column 0. So now when I run the code, I get my pink frame in row 1, column 0. This is row 0, column 0. This is row 1, column 0. Now let me take another frame called frame 3 which is having the background color equal to orange. We can make background color equal to orange and let me say it is in row 0, column 1. So now when I run the code, sorry. So now when I run the code, I get my frame 3 which is orange in color which is in row 0, column 1. Now I want this is in row 0, column 1, but I want to span it two rows, that is row 0 and row 1. So how can I go about it? So for this have to give a row span equal to 2. By default, it will be having a value equal to 1. Now I need to span 2 rows. So now when I run the code, we see the frame widget which was earlier like this, the orange frame which was earlier in row 0, column 1, now is occupying 2 rows, that is row 0 and row 1. So it is occupying 2 rows. So we can say with the help of row span equal to 2, we can span the widget 2 rows. So row 0 also it is occupying, row 1 also it is occupying. And now if I make my height equal to 200 and run the code, we can see that this particular orange widget is occupying 2 rows, that is row 0 and row 1. So this is how the row span works in the grid method in the geometry manager in Tkinter. Now let's move ahead with the column span. So let me have my frame 1 at row 0, column 0, and my frame 2 at row 0, column 1. And my, okay, first let us run this particular code. Okay, so I got two frames, the one in red. The one in red is at row 0, column 0. So this is at row 0, column 0. And this is at row 0. It's on the same row but column 1. So because it is row 0, column 1. Now let us add our third frame called frame 3. Sorry. Frame 3 equal to frame. Place it in the main window. Width equal to 100. Height equal to 100. Background color equal to orange. Frame 3 dot grid, and I want to place it in row equal to 1, comma, column equal to 0. So now when I run the code, I get my widget orange frame which is in row 1, column 0. Now I want to span it two columns, that is it has to occupy this column as well. So if it is supposed to span two columns, then we have to give column span equal to 2. Let me close this window. Let me run it again. So it is occupying this column as well as this column. So it has spanned two columns. Initially we saw row span where it spanned two rows. Here it is spanning two columns. Now if I give my width equal to 200 and run the code, let me close this and run the code, we can see that it has spanned two columns. The orange widget has occupied the column where red widget is present, and it has occupied the column where the pink widget is also present. So these are two particular rows, columns, and our orange widget has occupied two columns. So this is how the row span and column span works in the grid method in Tkinter. Hope so friends, it is clear for you. So We saw row span and column span in this particular session. Hope so it is clear for you. Columns means these are the two columns. Rows means it is this row and this row. So with the help of row span and column span, we saw how we can span the widget that many rows and that many columns. So till now we have covered the row parameter, column parameter, row span and column span. In our next session, let's see the internal and external padding parameters and sticky parameter. Hope so friends it is clear for you. If you have any doubts, please do reach to me out in the comment section. If you like my video, click on the like button and please do subscribe to get notifications of my new videos. Till then, see you. Bye bye.